वंशी विभूषितकरान् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरा दरुणबिम्बफलाधरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। अखण्डमण्डलाकारम् व्याप्तं येन चराचरम् तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Divine souls, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Gurudev. We have been going through chapter 12 and we have covered up to mantra 12. Just to recap, we learned from mantra 8 to 11 those 4 sadhana which Bhagavan told to Arjuna in mantra 8, 9, 10 and 11. He said about Samarpana Yoga, where you surrender your mind and intellect to Lord. Then he talked in mantra 9, Abhyasa Yoga, that is yoga of practice. Practice what? Practice to surrender mind and intellect to Lord. Then he said, if you can't do that, let you perform all actions for Lord. No action goes without the element of Lord in it. That is the Bhagadartha karma. Then in mantra 11 told that okay, if you are not able to attach me with all your actions, perform all actions what you want. But condition is that the fruits of all actions you must renunciate. That's what we learn from verse 8 to 11. And then in mantra 12, we learned about the 3 comparisons Bhagavan made. One is that knowledge is better than practice, because simple knowledge of the scripture is not enough. You must the knowledge, you have to have knowledge, but without knowledge, whatever you practice will not be properly directed. So the knowledge is better than practice. Then he talks about meditation is superior to knowledge, because if you have knowledge and if you do not bring into practice, into meditation, then that is not of much benefit. Then he goes on to say that renunciation of fruits of all actions better than meditation. In fact, that is the best, because if you renunciate the fruit of action, you will be having eternal peace. After having gone through all up to 12, let us see what Bhagavan is going to talk about in verses 13 to 19. So these are you all know, we are very much familiar with this part. So I will just carry it through more or less, carry it forward just as much as I can understand and I am able to present to you. See, these 39 attributes, these are of enlightened devotee, Jnani Bhakta or Siddha Bhakta. And this Bhagavan describes in 5 segments. Mantra 13 to 14, 13 and 14, there are 12 attributes. In Mantra 15, there are 6 attributes. In mantra 16, there are 6 again. 17, 18, there are 5. And in mantra 19, we have the 10 attributes. So total, we have 39 attributes divided in 5 segments. Now, the Bhakta, Sa Me Bhakta Priya, these 3 words comes into these verses. We'll come to that. And they are attributes of Bhakta who have enlightened, who are Jnani or Siddha. Because you may have 1 quality, 2 quality, and maybe few of them. But all the 39 attributes, it can come only in Bhakta who is enlightened. And Bhagavan has mentioned that in chapter 7, verses 16 to 18. This verse is also very much familiar to all of you. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna arto jigyasurarthati jnani cha vartarsava. It is the Sukritino who worship me. He is not including Duskritino. They are separate. This group is of virtuous people who worship me. But among the virtuous people, there are 4 kinds of them. They are Artho, man in distress; Jigyasu, seeker of knowledge; Arthati, seeker of wealth; and Jnani, the man of wisdom. I will not elaborate, you all know very well. Then among them, Tesham Jnani Nityayukta Ek Bhaktir Vishishyate Priyo Hi Jnaniyotartham Aham Sa Cha Mama Priyaha. This is the point which is relevant in so far this segment 13 to 19 is concerned. And among these Jnani, best is the man of wisdom, but just of exclusive devotion. So the power of devotion added to Jnana, that is the highest level of Jnani Bhakta. That is the Jnani Bhakta. One is endowed with wisdom as well as full of devotion. But what he says, Atyartham, he is his Priya, extremely dear. These are the people who really know me. And not only that, he is my own self, which he talks about in the next verse. Udhara sarva evete jnani tvatmaiva me matam asthita sayo yuktatma mave mam nuttamam gatim. All those are noble, that's fine. But the man of wisdom, I deem, is verily my own self. Yukt Atma ma ve mam uttamam gatim. They're perfectly united with me because he resourced me as the highest goal. The purpose of my bringing these verses is to stress the fact that all the 39 qualities which are given here by Bhagavan are all pertaining to Jnani Bhakta. A Bhakta, ordinary Bhakta, may have one, two, whatever few may be. Even though if one attribute, it will lead to another. But leading to another is a stage. But the Jnani Bhakta has all of them. Bhagavan has talked about all these in various stages where he talks about Karma Yogi, when he talks about Jnana Yogi, he talks of Dhyana Yogi. Everywhere he has given all the characteristics which a Bhakta or a Karmi or a Jnani must achieve, must imbibe. Here Bhagavan in nutshell putting all together 39 qualities of a enlightened bhakta, enlightened yogi, bhakta. Now, as you can see here in these verses, these attributes have been painted. Swami Chinmayananji puts it that Lord is a true painter, that there is a canvas on which he starts painting one attribute, another attribute, he goes on adding on to that, as if a painter uses his brush on the canvas. You all know Bob Ross. You have seen his painting in the television. He appears very famous painter. He uses his brush and he starts putting on the canvas. It brings a beautiful thing at the end of it. So Bhagwan has put all these attributes in canvas for the people, for Arjuna and people like us to have that in our picture all the time and try to imbibe one attribute after another, one quality after another in us, so as to develop ourselves from an ordinary bhakta to jnani bhakta. As I was mentioning, before that, you can see the projection which Bhagwan has put in there on the canvas are put in two categories. One is that mental beauty and intellectual equipoise. This is a different level. And then his relationship with the sansar. So there are all the attributes are put in such a way that an individual has his own quality imbibed in him, and the other, he uses all the attributes and qualities to interact with the world. So there are relationship of Jiva with Jagadishwar on one side, keeping all the time his mind and intellect submerged into the Bhagavan thoughts, and he projects himself, he interacts with the world in using all those powers which he has accumulated to perform in the world. And this is exactly what Arjuna has asked Bhagavan to reply to him, to his question, which is put in verse 54, chapter 2, when he says, Pragyasya ka bhasa samadhisthasya kesava sadih kim prabhaseta kimasita vrajeta kim. This was a rather not very explicit or clear question, because it is chapter 2, very early stage. He was just starting to recover from the shock, but then he has something, it came to his mind, and Arjuna puts forward. He says, what is the disposition of one who is already enlightened, one that is, who is already situated in divine consciousness? That is one stage. And then how does that enlightened person talk, say, to walk? That means how he behaves in sansara. So one is that he has got samadhisthasya. That means he is established in samadhi, his brain, intellect, and all these things are highly elevated in one with Brahma. And sthitihi, that means he is able to interact with the world with those two attributes. All these have been put in all these 39 verses, which Bhagavan is going to tell us, and I will gradually go to that. So this is the Jivan Mukta, the Jnani Bhakta, who has Sthita Pragya, who is already enlightened, and Jivan Prabuddha. Now, as I mentioned, the two main things have to be considered, and this has been consistent throughout Bhagavad Gita. One is the question of renunciation, detachment, and other is the question of attachment, that is to be one with yoga. So one is yoga and other is viyoga. One is detachment and other is attachment. So it is depends upon the individual. What is his tendency? Has he got the tendency to pravritta with Bhagavan and nivritti from sansara? But these are the two ways which is either take you toward bandham or it take you to the moksha. So bandham and moksha, these are the two things. If you are involved in sansara, that is the bandhan. So your intellect should be such that you should try to get released from the bandhan of sansara and remain engaged with Brahma. That is what is mentioned. That doesn't happen all the time. We do learn that we have to get rid of desire, get rid of the attachment with the world, sangha, asakti. But do we do that? There is beautiful bhajan comes up. Kam na chora, क्रोध न छोरा, काम न छोरा, क्रोध न छोरा, सत्य वचन क्यों छोड़ दिया हरे, नाम भजन क्यों छोड़ दिया हरे. So we have not been able to get rid of the impurity or those bad actions and attach yourself to Satya Bachan, to truth, and turn towards the Lord. That is the thing which we have to learn and practice. Now, as I mentioned, that Bhagavan has put in the characteristics or attributes of Jivan Mukta, Sthita Pragya, Gunatita, or Prabuddha at various places in Bhagavad Gita. We all know these verses in chapter 2 towards the end of the Sthita Pragya Prakaran. And in this Sthita Pragya Prakaran, Bhagavan talks about all these Prajahati Jada Kaman Sarvan Partmanogatan Atmaneva Atmanasthita Pragya Sadadushe Dukhesu and Dugmana Sukhesu Vigata. This goes like that. So all these are attributes of that who is Prabuddha, who has got, who is Sthita Pragya. Sthita Pragya or Prabuddha, those are the attributes of those persons. But in Bhakta, we are going through this 13 to 19. There are 20 attributes of Jnana Yogi. Amanitva, Adambhitva, Ahinsa, Shartimat, Acharya, Upasanam, Socham, Stain, Man, Benedra, Indriyarthesu, Vairagam, Anahankara, Evcha. In that way, all those 20 attributes have been given at one place in chapter 13 from mantra 7 to 11. So, that is for Jnana Yogi. Those attributes at one place Bhagavan has put there. When he talks about Gunatita, again he talks about those attributes of Gunatit. Again, that is also Sthita Pragya or Jivan Mukta. And those are given in verses 22 to 26 in chapter 14. And then in Devi Sampada, there are 26 qualities even given of divine endowments, and that is given in chapter 16. Those three verses in the beginning: Abhayam Satya Sansuddhi Jnana Yoga Vibhasati Dhanam Damasarya Swadhas Arjuna Ahimsa Satyam Krodha. That is, those are the attributes of Devi Sampada, divine manifestations that are given there. What I'm trying to put in, that these Bhagavan at places, whether it is Karma Yoga, whether it is Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, everywhere he has put in the attributes which leads to yoga, to one with Brahma at a different level. We need to learn that, imbibe that in our life. Now, again we find that these in seven mantras, the 39 attributes and 5 segments. In each segment, it ends with Sa me priya, Sacha me priya, or me priyo naraha. That is dear to me. And this is dear to me it also appears in verse 17 of chapter 7. Tesham jnana yukta ek bhaktir visishyate priyo hi jnana yuktartham aham sacha ma priya. He is very dear to me. He is very dear to me. That keeps on coming in all these verses, in all these 7th mantra we are going to study. Let us come to what are those mantras, those attributes. Now, this is given in verse 13 and 14. There are 12 attributes, as I mentioned. We all know that. Just for the sake of formality, may I say that let go through that. Advaita sarvabhutanam maitrah karuna eva cha nirmamo nirahankarah samadukha sukhakshami santuष्टः satatam yogi yatatma dridaniश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिर् यो मद्भक्तः समे priyah. Advaita, that is free from malice. Sarvabhutanam, towards all living beings. Maitraha, friendly. Karunaha, compassionate. Evacha, indeed. Cha, and nirmamaha, free from attachment to possession. Nirahankara, free from egoism. Sama, equipoised. Some in what? Sukha dukkha, in happiness and distress. Kshami, should be forgiving. Santushtaha, content. Satatam, steadily. Yogi, initiated in devotion. Yatatma, self-controlled. Dridhanishchayaha, firm resolve. To whom? Mai, to me. Arpita, dedicated. Manaha, mind. Buddhi, intellect. Yah, sa bhakta, my devotee. Sa me priyaha, is dear, is very dear. Now, these 12, I have put them into two groups of 6 each. One is one of the most important attributes which every one of us must have. There is no argument about it, no wavering about it, no qualm about it. This is established fact that we have this tendency to have malice towards somebody to whom we don't like. Thing which doesn't please you, you have some malice towards that. There's some hatred toward that. Why? Why should we hate another? Each and every time this point has been stressed that just now Maharaj ji talked about. खोलो जो भी नजर आए सब भगवान है, भगवान के सिवा कुछ नहीं है. अब भगवान के सिवा कुछ नहीं है तो उससे आपको द्वेष है? अगर these do not go together. If somebody in front of you, you consider him निज प्रभु मैं देखहि जगत कहीं सन करहि विरोध. These don't go together. If somebody in front of you, you consider him to be Brahma, how can you have hatred or malice towards him? They don't go together. We must. So the problem is what? We do not consider our neighbor to be Bhagwan. If he has plucked flower from your garden, you have hatred towards him. Why he comes and disturbs my garden? So that simple thing as that, you get disturbed, you feel hatred towards him. That is the problem. Is here that you do not consider him as a Brahma. You do not consider him that he is Paramatma, that there is nothing exists beyond in front of my eyes which is not Paramatma, it's all Paramatma. So if you think that he is Paramatma, he is divine, there is divinity in that is there. So you cannot, the moment you see Gurudev, you immediately fall on his feet. You do not even for a moment consider, because it is already, your mind is tuned in such a way that moment you see the picture of somebody whom you like, who revere, you immediately you fall at his feet. But that you do not do if somebody is another person almost dressed like him. He has got also some in the he has got dressed as a saint. You consider, oh, ये फेंट है, ये पैसा कमाने के लिए ऐसा कर रहा है. He is just trying to get some money from me. So you immediately make a distinction between one whom you really consider to be Bhagwan and one who is similarly dressed, but his face is not that of Gurudev. You do not consider him to be Guru, or for that matter, Bhagwan. You consider him to have something wrong in that, and that wrong impression brings in your mind some sort of aversion from that. That is not what is required. This point has been stressed and stressed and stressed many, many times, where all speakers, whoever speak, whoever gives sermon, giving sermon is so good, but in practice, do you do that? Do I do that? Each and every person must. If you have not done it, get a shock of it. Oh, I made a mistake. Once you understand that you have made a mistake, next time you will try to rectify it, that you will not get anybody, you will not have hatred against anybody. Whosoever he may be, he might have hurt you, he might have caused all kinds of damage to you and to your ego, whatever it is. But that should completely get that. You should think that your punya पाप जो था पहले जन्म का, जिसके कारण उसने मुझे गाली दी. Suppose somebody comes and gives you, abuse you, you will say that my one prarabdha is gone. I am less with one prarabdha. So that feeling of getting rid of prarabdha should make you feel that you will not have hatred against anybody. Each and everybody is divine, is divinity, and you bow before that, forgetting about anything past experiences. Now, not only that, you should have no hatred for anybody else. You should be friendly to him. You should have friendly behavior. You should be compassionate towards him. So, asanga, that is, of course, the another one talks about free from attachment. Attachment with what? Attachment with possessions. Whatever you have is not yours. It is भगवान. हम तो जब आरती करते हैं, ओम जय जगदीश हरे, सब कहते हैं तन मन धन सब है तेरा. I remember Guru Maharaj used to mention this frequently. He has mentioned this, that आप आरती तो करते हो भगवान की, ओम जय जगदीश हरे, और उसमें कहते हो तन मन धन सब है तेरा, तेरा सबको अर्पण क्या लागे मेरा. I am offering everything to you, what is not mine. But that is, you are talking from your mouth. You are not really having that feeling कि जो तन मन धन मेरा है. महाराज जी विल से, आरती करके बैठ गए, उसके बाद पैसा देने की बात आती है तो यू स्टार्ट काउंटिंग कि कितना, $1 दे रहे हैं कि $2 दे रहे हैं कि $5 दे रहे हैं. अरे आपने कहा कि सब आपका है, तो जो आपके पास में पॉकेट से निकल के आया सब दे दो ना. नहीं, उसमें आप देखें कि नहीं $1 देंगे, $2 देंगे या $5 देंगे. तो यू make a distinction between 1, 2 and 5. When everything belongs, आपने कहा है सब कुछ है, तन मन धन सब है तेरा. जब तन मन धन सब तेरा है, तो फिर काउंट करना क्या है कि 1, 2 या 5. यू सब आपको अर्पण है. वही जाते हैं बनवारी रे, मेरा क्या सब तुम्हारा है. So that is the singing which comes out in a way, but that is not coming from within. Your feeling is that you have your possession. That Bhagavan says, asanga. You should have no attachment with the possessions of what you have. Then next one comes that who are free from egoism. That is the abhiman or dambha se pare. So there is difference between abhiman and dambha. Abhiman is that of what you possess. If I have got a Mercedes car, I will say, oh, I am a owner of Mercedes car. That is abhiman. You have got so much of wealth, so much of property, you have so much high position. These are Abhiman. But dambh hai nahi. But you claim that I am such person, I am that person, and I have got this property. You don't have that. So that is dambha. Bhagavan says you should be free from egoism, name, fame, power, everything. You should be not be having dambha for that or ahankar for that. You should be equipoised in happiness and distress. You in whatever is happening is because of your prarabdha. It is your karma phala. In past actions, what you have past activities, your karma you have done, it is the result of that that you get happiness or distress. You should be equipoised in that. We will continue in the next week. Jai Sri Krishna, Jai Gurudev.